This video I'm going to be going over the fourth page of the Algebra 1 Semester 1 review. The first question wants you to solve it for k. So let's just go ahead and put a box around what we need to get by itself. We need k to be alone, and next to it we have a plus 273. We're going to move that to the other side by subtracting it. And that'll leave you with c minus 273 equals k, and you're done. Is this function linear? A linear function is something in the form that's y equals mx plus b. Take a look at this equation and notice that there is nothing that has any exponents, especially x. X cannot have a power if you're going to have a linear equation. The power should be 1, where right now we have the power of 2, so this is not linear. If you put all of this into a graphing calculator, you would see that it's going to be curved. When we're solving number 41 for h, the first thing you need to get rid of is this dividing by 8, because both h and w are being divided by 8. They're kind of in a group together with the parentheses. So the first thing you'll need to do is multiply by 8, making 8m equals h minus w. Then you'll add the w, and since m and w are different letters, they will stay separate. You should know how to find the intercepts. You plug in 0 one at a time for y, and that gives you the x-intercept. And then you plug in 0 for x, and that gives you the y-intercept. 0 is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. 100 degrees Celsius is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we have is we have 2 points. The x's are the Celsius, the y's are the Fahrenheit. Write an equation for the Fahrenheit that depends on Celsius. This is saying that y depends on x. So let's just do it with a slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's 212 minus 32. Oh, I didn't put minus. Minus 32 over 100 minus 0. That'll be equal to 180 over 100, which equals 18 divided by 10, which is 1.8. That's our slope. Y equals 1.8 x plus b. Now to solve for b, we're going to use either one of these points. You could use 0, 32 or 100, 212. Obviously, it's easier to use 0, 32. That's 0 for x and 32 for y. 32 equals 1.8 times 0 plus b. 1.8 times 0 is nothing, it's 0. That leaves b is equal to 32, which means our equation is y equals 1.8 x plus 32. And that really is the formula that converts Celsius into Fahrenheit. We have this formula. We see that 3 things are all in a parentheses, and then they're being divided by v. So let's just rewrite that to be nRT divided by v. All 3 of those things are grouped together, and v is dividing into them. If we want to solve this for v, then we need v to not be in the denominator. We need v to be by itself, but not in the denominator. The only way to move this v to the other side is by doing its opposite, which is to multiply. That makes vp equals nRT. We don't want the p. We need p to disappear, so we're going to divide. Okay, we don't need it to disappear, we just need it to move. So we're going to move p by dividing by p. That leaves v equals nRT divided by p. And you'll see that formula again in a couple years, and you'll know what it means. Which of these equations has no solution? If it's no solution, that means you have a number equal to a different number. Something that's impossible, like 3 equals 6. X equals -2, that's fine. You can graph that, it's a flat line. 4x equals 4, that makes x equal to 1, that's fine. 3x plus 2 equals 7, that's fine. X plus 9 equals x plus 4. Let's solve that one. If you subtract x, the x's both cancel out, and it leaves you with 9 equals 4. Is 9 equal to 4? No, it's not. That's a number equal to a different number, which is not possible, so it's no solution. I mean, you could graph both of those things. You could graph x plus 9 and graph x plus 4. It's just that there's not going to be any intersection for those two lines. Graph the line for number 43. That's y equals 1.8x plus 32. So why don't I'll count by 6. But for the x's, I'll count by 1s. The y-intercept is 32. Since 1.8 is pretty close to 2, that means it's going to be almost 2 spaces before we get to the number 36. And then once we plug in 3, we'll be past it. What is the value of f of 4? That's f of 4. Whenever normally we have f of x. So what is in the parentheses where x normally goes? 4. 4 is replacing x. So that means we're going to look for 4 on x, and we're going to see what y is equal to. When we have x is 4, how much is the y? F of 4 is equal to 0. Because whenever x is 4, y is 0. Find the range of g of x. No, the range of g of x is this. What numbers are in the domain? Okay, well, the range are the y's. So that means that these are all of the answers. These are the y's that you get whenever you plug in something into the domain. We're going to have to solve for the domain. So -3, that's going to be the y. That's going to go in the place of g. We're going to be replacing g with these numbers one at a time. Then we have 3x plus 1. So we'll subtract the 1. Then we'll divide by 3. That's one of the answers. Now we'll have 12 for y equal to 3x plus 1. We'll subtract 1. Then we'll divide by 3. That's our second answer. We need one more, 21. We'll subtract 1 first. Then divide by 3. We'll get 6 2/3. We need to put these numbers from least to greatest. So my domain is going to be 1 1/3, but negative. Then we'll have 3 2/3. And finally we'll have 6 2/3. I think this is a repeated question. I'm pretty sure it happened on... Nope, it's different. All right, so we need to solve this for w. That means we need all of our w's to come together and be alone. The first thing I want to do is I want to simplify this parentheses. That's a 3. And let's reduce the 12 over 15. 12 divided by 15 is 3/5. No, actually, it's 4/5. And then we'll copy everything else. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this 4/5 to be a decimal. 4/5 as a decimal is 0.8 W, and that's being multiplied by 3. So 0.8 W times 3 would be negative 2.4 W equals 2/3 times 4 is 8/3 minus 6 W. Let's combine these W's on the left, and let's add this one to the left. Okay, so 18 plus 6 makes 24 W's, but we have minus 2.4. So 24 minus 2.4 will make 21.6 W's minus 18 equals 8/3. We'll add the 18, and then we'll divide by 21.6. If you had your calculator, you could put that into your calculator. The domain is this. What numbers are in the range? The domain are the x's, so we're going to take these and one at a time put them in for x. F of negative 4, we're going to plug that in. So 2 times negative 4 minus 1 will make negative 9. And I'm just going to plug it in as I go along. And so my final set is negative 9, 7, 9, 17. For the slope-intercept equation, you'll find the slope. Then you'll find b. Graph the solutions to the inequality. This one's not fun, but it could happen on your test. Let's distribute. Let's copy. Okay, I'll reduce it. It's 7 over 3. Then let's combine the negative 7/3 with the minus 6x. Both of these have x's. Together they make a negative 8 and 1/3 x. Let's add this 3 to the other side to make it 10. And I'm going to add the 3/4 x. Ten is less than Negative 8 1/3 plus 3/4. You could change these decimals, these fractions in a decimal form, and that's what I'll do. Negative 8.3 repeating, x plus 0.75x. 10 is less than negative 7.55x. Then we'll divide by negative 7.55. Since we divided by a negative, we'll have to change the way that inequality is pointing. The answer is negative 1.325 when you round to the third decimal place. Write the equation of g of x equals 2f of x plus 2. So this means we're going to times f of x by 2, and then we're going to add 2 to whatever is in number 50. So that's 2x minus 1. G of x equals 2 times, in a parentheses, we're plugging in what f of x is equal to. We're taking all of this, and we're putting it in that parentheses. And then we have this outside plus 2, which we'll put at the end. Now let's distribute. And then let's simplify. There you go. There is page 4 of the review.